In this video, I'm going to share with you how I use Logos Bible software very quickly to find what I'm looking for in Greek grammars. Hi, I'm Daryl Burling from Master New Testament Greek. I help people like you, regular people who love the word more by engaging with the original language. If you're interested in growing to love the word and love the Lord more, then hit subscribe and hit the notify bell. That way, when new videos are released, you'll be the first to know about it. Now, I want to stop and just say thank you to Logos Bible software for sponsoring this video. I've been using Logos for many years. So I wanted to do a video like this for quite a while, and I'm really excited to be able to share this with you. So in this video, what I want to do is I want to introduce you to one way that I use Logos Bible software, working with the original language, with the Greek text particularly, to find things in grammars. So that I can find them quickly and effectively. Now, this isn't rocket science. Many of you may know this, but a lot of people don't know how to use Logos, and they just get stuck using the basic features, and they don't often know how to narrow that down. And so what I want to do in this is want to sort of show you how to take advantage of some of the powerful features, search features that are inside Logos Bible software that I use every day to just make it really easy to search for things inside Logos. Now, this is a great thing to do if you're studying the Greek text and you want to know what is going on in this verse. In fact, you can actually narrow it right down to say what is going on with this verb or this participle in this Greek text. And then you can find grammars that specifically talk about exactly what you're looking at. This is a really cool tool, really helpful. I use it every day, and I want to encourage you to do the same as well. So follow along with me and let me walk you through this. So in Ephesians chapter 4, we're just looking at, let's just say we're preparing a sermon, and we're just going to work through this first verse here, verse 1 to start with. So I've got Ephesians 4 open here in my Greek New Testament. You can see very clearly what that looks like. On this left-hand side, you can see I have my library. And then I have a search pane open as well. So here's the question. I want to find everything in my library that has a reference to Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1. So I'm going to come over to my search box and I'm going to use this square bracket operator, Ephesians 4 verse 1. You just type in the reference with square brackets and hit enter. And that's going to go off, and because I've chosen here all resources, this is going to reveal everything in my library that actually has a link or a reference to Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1, and this is going to include footnotes and so on. Now, obviously, I have way too many articles to go through. I can't go through 1,370 resources here, never mind 4,300 articles or 6,300 results. It's just too much. So I just want to narrow that down just to Greek grammars particularly. So I find Greek grammars that refer to Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1, so I can find examples and guidance as to exactly what kind of syntax is being used here that I can then use to help my understanding of Greek. So here's what I do. I'd go back to the library, and this is my library pane here. And I'll just make that a little larger for you. You'll notice as you scroll across here, a couple of these fields are worth noticing. And if you don't see what I see exactly, up here you'll see this drop-down box. Go from cover view, which is possibly what you have, or more likely tile view, which I don't find particularly helpful, and switch that out for details view. And then what you'll see is you'll see these things here, rank, type, title, and you can scroll across and see author, last accessed, last opened, and so on and so forth. The subjects is an interesting one to look at. And what we're going to do is we're going to use this subjects, and then we're also going to use type to narrow the kinds of resources that we're looking at inside our library. And so we can do that up here in the search box by just typing type. Now, type with the semicolon after it is focused on the type field. So I could equally just say subject, and then it would be looking for something in that subject field. Let's say I'm looking for a commentary on Ephesians. I could say title, Ephesians, and that's going to find me everything with the word Ephesians in the title. But what I want to do here specifically is I want to find everything that is a grammar. So I can go type and then type in grammar, and it's going to narrow down all of the grammars that I have in my library. And you can see here I have a mixture of Latin, classical Greek, Hebrew, Greek, all sorts of different things. So I want to reduce that list down as well. And so here I can use the subject field as well. I can type in subject Greek, and then it's going to filter out everything that's related to Greek. Now, it could be that I want to be a little more narrow than that, but 46 results is pretty good. So that's going to narrow that down for me significantly and sufficiently for what I'm trying to achieve. Now, I can't search from the library for Ephesians 4 in this set of resources. So what I need to do is I need to somehow save this so that I can do it. Now, there's a couple of ways I could do that. First of all, I could copy this narrowing down of my library here and come over to my search window, and then rather than searching all resources, I can literally just paste that text in here, and it's those same 46 resources there are going to match it. And so now I've reduced that down to just those 46 resources, and you can see here that only 15 of those resources actually refer to Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1, and that gives me a total of 49 results in 39 articles. So this is much more manageable. I can certainly work with this a lot easier. Now, how would I change this so that I can do this more readily and more quickly? So to do that, what we can do is we can go into a tool that's part of the Logos library system called Collections. And I can just go into Tools, type in Collections, and there it is, hit that, and you can see here it's creating for me an unnamed collection. So let me just rename this, and I'll just put a number in front of it because it is my YouTube collection. Let's just call it that, give it a name. And again, I can just copy and paste into that exact same text that I used when filtering my library earlier on. So again, I got those same 46 resources that I had previously as well. So that's going to make it very easy. But now, wait a minute, there are some resources that aren't included here. For instance, there's a book by Stephen Runge, which he's the editor of, The Greek Verb Revisited. Maybe I want to include that. So what I could do is I could actually remove that for the moment and then go author Runge. So again, I'm taking that author field and I'm pulling that material from here, and so everything that has Runge in the author field will meet that. And so what I can do is I can actually drag some of these, even though this is a monograph and not a grammar, I can actually just drag that into this area plus these resources. So now if I get rid of this and I put in there my subject and my topic again, it's still going to include, if I scroll down here, you will still see this monograph here, even though it's not a grammar. So I hope that was a helpful little tip there about collections. Collections are really powerful. I want to encourage you to use them. If you found that helpful, hit the like button and let me know. I'd love to hear if this is something that you want to see more of as well. But let's say I want to narrow this down even further. So what I want to do then is I want to go back to my search, and I might want to find, for instance, let's say I'm interested in this parakalo here, and I want to find out, well, what kind of verb is this? What do I find out about this verb? So there's a couple of ways I can do this. First of all, I could just simply copy and paste or type in parakalo, and there it is, and I can hit the enter button, and then it's going to find me everything that's going to have Ephesians 4 verse 1 with parakalo. But again, 85 resources, that's kind of a lot. Let's narrow that down. And what I'm going to do here is you can see my YouTube collection is actually part of my options for searching my library. So let me just select my YouTube selection, and there we go. Now I have 7 resources that mention parakalo with reference to Ephesians chapter 4 verse 1. So let's just have a look at Mathewson and Emick here, and you can see here this verse is mentioned other ways to express a command. So here's a verb of volition, and so you can see here he's using this verb here in this case specifically to talk about how that this verb is an indicative, but in spite of it being an indicative, it's actually being used in an imperative sense. And so you can see here that I can easily find grammars that talk about this particular verb with reference to how that verb is working inside the context. Now we can also expand this, so let's go back to our collection here. And so rather than just looking at Greek grammars, maybe I want to include commentaries in this, particularly commentaries on Ephesians. And so I can come back into my YouTube collection here and I can expand my collection. In this case, what I'm going to do, put brackets around that, put an operator in between these, because what I'm saying here is I really want to find resources that have both grammar and as the type and the subject is Greek. Or I also want to include books that are type commentary and title Ephesians. Okay, and so this may not include everything because there may be some commentaries that have in their title the letter to the church at Ephesus, and that wouldn't be found in the search because Ephesians and Ephesus are different. So it would exclude those. But this is close enough for what we want to do. And so again, I can come back to my search window here and simply rerun that. And you can see now I've expanded it, and I can see here that I now have commentaries built into this as well. So that's one quick and easy tool that I use within Logos Bible software to find resources that talk about specific verses and specific verbs, or even pronouns, or whatever it is. Like I could type in within 5 words of pronoun. So that's going to say it's going to have the word pronoun within 5 words of that reference. And so I can hit enter, and look at that, there's one of those there. And so he's talking specifically about the pronoun there inside that verse. So again, you may want to expand or reduce the number of books you're looking through. Now here's one thing that I wish Logos would do, and that is, you can see at the top here, you can customize this bar with resources that you use frequently. And so you can see here I've got a couple of Greek New Testaments, my Hebrew, a couple of grammars that I use pretty regularly, BDAG, and a number of other things like that, including a couple of search shortcuts here as well. So these are really helpful, but what I'd love to do is I can save a workspace. Why can't that bar there be saved as part of my workspace and have a default bar, but then the workspace be able to override it? That would be something I would really love to do as well. And that way, if I'm doing a subject, which is typically how I would arrange my workspaces, then I can set my workspace up and then have books that I'm going to use regularly right there ready to go, so without me having to go find those in my library every time I go to that workspace. So that's something that I'd like to do. So before we go, I'd love to know, do you have a tool or a technique or a tip inside Logos Bible software, or your own Bible software, whatever it is you use, that you find really helpful like this, that you use almost every day? If you do, leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you and let me know. I'll also leave a link in the description below where you can get a hold of Logos Bible software at a 50% off discount, and you can get a bunch of free books with that as well using this link. And I'll also leave a link to a couple of the grammars that I use pretty regularly inside Logos Bible software as well. Thank you again to Logos Bible software for sponsoring this video. Thank you to you for watching this, and if you haven't already done so, go ahead, hit the subscribe button, the notify bell, and make sure you like this video as well. That's really helpful, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Until then, keep taking small consecutive steps toward mastery. We'll see you then.